Welcome to our first seminar of Living with Spirit. Today's special guest is Christy Michael. She is a beautiful priestess of the light, and she is bringing new initiatives to help women move into that sweet space of the divine feminine through ceremony, education, and she's bringing in science, geometry, and beauty galore. Christy, say hello to everybody. Yay. So we're gonna spend some time today, about an hour, talking about something that is very important to women, but women have it almost latently asleep somewhere in their body, and they know they want more of it. And when Christy and I have been doing events together in these last 2 years, she's an event producer extraordinaire, we find that women are asking for more, and they are hungry, and they are telling us that they go home and their life doesn't seem to be able to carry that same structure and ritual. So my idea is that we could work with the principles of the ancient ways of living and update it and see how in our busy, chaotic lives that we could bring in some more of this beauty and order and ritual. So I am Jan Cercone, of course, from Soundandlighthealingarts, and I'm going to start right off with something very basic. Christy said, Jan, why do you have a blanket behind you? And I said, that is an important part of the presentation. For we are repatterning the earth in beautiful, divine, geometric ways of concentric circles. And that is the feminine way of coming together in tribes and sharing resonance and becoming powerful and finding our voices and making a change. So I think it's very interesting that for many, many decades, women would stitch. It's called the flower of life geometrically, but this is called the wedding ring quilt. So we are wedding our feminine nature with our divinity, and we are warming ourselves and covering and nurturing and caring for the world. This is a metaphor for this blanket, as well as marrying the divine masculine, helping and finding that divine masculine to bloom. But to be honest with you, we women are on the leading edge, and we are the initiators, and we are the ones that are bringing these new energies of spirit forth through our intuition. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to switch to a PowerPoint. So this will help me articulate some of these principles easier with some visual. All right, technology, be my friend. Okay, so welcome to the Living Every Day with the Divine Feminine. Let's begin the feminine way and take a deep breath through our nose and out through our mouth. In this hurried world where everything is based on time, that is a masculine principle. So we are already slowing down. Isn't that a sweet picture of Christy and I hand in hand? So you already know many of the things we're going to share today. We are tweaking your remembrance. It's in your cellular memory. If you are watching this, present or in the future, you are part of a beautiful lineage of the divine feminine coming back to reprogram Earth. So the idea is the spirit is within us, the vibration of the feminine, which is distinct from the masculine, and it has been missing on the earth plane. So this new reorganization of Earth is calling for these feminine energies to emerge through your body, your thoughts, and your actions, and your voice. It needs to emerge, so we are encouraging all the different ways to let this energy come up. And in so many ways, we women have come into this masculinized society and become alpha females. And we think dancing and we think just relaxing are not valued. And we must begin to change our thinking about this, that is what allows us to recharge and have the juice to do the nurturing, to do the caring, and to hold the space for all that is on this earth, for the important things like loving, to spread your arms and to hold, and for your eyes to give that love to out into the world. This is very feminine. Now, I must say, many men in their bodies, this is not gender specific, of course are loving, and we want to bump up their feminine essence as well, which is spirit. Let me explain something. In the universal energy flow, masculine energy is mind and time, and the feminine is space and spirit. We are missing space and spirit on this planet. The feminine is innately strong. She has just put herself in a container, the feminine part, and actually let the masculine part override. And this has made an imbalance in the bedroom. It has certainly changed everything in the corporate structure, when I do believe that more femininity, inclusiveness, compassionate, these feminine qualities could change the nature of our government. They often say if we had women presidents or people in their femininity, there would be no war. And that's certainly what we're moving towards. My grandmother said the pendulum swings all the way one way, then it must swing back. Women are generous. You sit at their table, there's always enough food to go around. The spiritual part. I've been talking about feminine essence and qualities. And as we come into our femininity and we connect through our crown chakra and we allow our core to connect with source, then our life becomes easy and directed by spirit. So the feminine is naturally able to connect through her intuition with her guides and spirit. This is a beautiful picture of the generic divine feminine. People say, is it Mother Mary? It could be Christ in his feminine, Mary Magdalene, the daughter of Sarah, any one of them. It's a little bit of all of us, I believe. So how do we remember? Again, these are very simple things you already know. We need to shut off the external world, which is fear-based and confused. We must go inside and connect with spirit. In the quiet stillness, Christy and I and many of the other women enable this process by creating ceremonies with sound in our voices to set a beautiful, quiet stillness of sacred grace. But you can do this all day long, wherever you're at. Start by meditating in the morning and then joining with other women in small circles. Again, this is circling the earth in resonant tribes, all feeling and following their intuition and following the principle of truth. So today you're in the right place if you are wanting to reignite your connection to source. Maybe you're tired. Have you forgotten your purpose in the chaos? Are you looking for a sense of calm, home, ritual, and order, and finding and staying in your passion? Or is yours relegated and put very low on the priority list now? So we are now beginning to see how important it is to reset our fields, to connect to the feminine aspect of source. What do I mean when I say field? Look at the picture. Everything is the frequency field. And if you put yourself in the middle of the frequency field and you ask Spirit, may I be the light? May I be who I truly am? And may I release anything that is not my core? I ask that the feminine essence of source come into me now. Could you even feel that as I was saying it? Go ahead and take a deep breath through the nose and out through the mouth, and just imagine that you can emit frequencies of coherent, feminine, loving, nurturing, strong, generous energy from your core simply by focusing and making that a mandate making a choice. So we'll be discussing, I'll be bringing in Christy in a few minutes. I just wanted to set a foundation for our talk here. Discussing and exploring simple ways to become this feminine energy. And I know what you're thinking, oh, I'm so busy, and sure, I'll light that candle before dinner. It's different. It's about becoming the energy and embodying the slower, calmer, and it's very, very important, again, to set your guidance system in the morning. We'll talk about that later. So everything's easier throughout the day. We'll talk about the importance of these energies returning to the earth. We'll do a little meditation, and then I'll introduce Christy, and she can tell you ways that she uses to stay centered and sacred and do all that she does, and a little bit about her path. So again, I welcome you, and I want to tell you a little bit about myself. This is a picture taken at a sound journey the other day at opening for Tom Kenyon's sound healing movie, Song of the New Earth. And I was very surprisingly taken on this path at age 50. And I was told by Spirit that I was in the wrong movie. And all the years of singing and being a nurse and working with hospice patients dying, now I could bring that all together and find my true purpose. I had no idea that my gift was to be able to feel and sense people, places, and things and their energetic fields, and to feel what wanted to be in divine alignment, but was not feeling so okay. And then the amazing thing is I learned the power of my consciousness to unzip the veil between the divine and the human body, and bring in like a little sword of color, of truth, of a word, to realign things. And believe me, this was not easy, because I was a nurse and I believed in science, and my awakening path made me feel, will I be taken care of? Am I crazy? What are these visions? But there's no going back. And if you're on this path, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This calling is like a glow in your heart that is so warm and so real that everything else pales. So that's why I'm here today on this Saturday morning doing the webinar with you, is to share the importance of following our heart's dreams and visualizations, because it's all part of a very important, bigger plan to heal the earth and her people. You all have your own path, and it is unique. Do not attempt to be like Christy and me. It won't work. We have enough trouble trying to be ourselves. Christy, I see a little smile with that one. So how does this feminine express through us? Doing what we love, coming together, singing, ceremony. It's our attitude in every moment, trying to find something that we can express that is truth, something that is beautiful, that we can line things up and make them joyous and beautiful to our eyes to behold. It is a principle of the Creator to bring more love and to bring actions of truth, beauty, and love into our relationships, which of course is sometimes the most difficult. Relationships are the highest growth potential for our spiritual path. Slowing down. Would you say, I have so much to do? It is the calming and slowing down and checking in that the divine checklist will prioritize of what is most likely to bring you all that you need. Sometimes we have some pretty funny ideas, and by simplifying and paring it down, we can actually do and create more and have more time. And the last one is we need a structure. Create ritual in your life and consistency, just like a mother who cooks the breakfast the same time every day, hugs the kids. This will anchor us, our nervous system, through all the many anticipated and expected changes coming for society. We women who are doing this work are extremely strong at our core. We are built for this. Set a sacred space in your environment that brings you back to your divinity simply by a prayer, a breath, and it reminds you of why you are here. Put pictures, candles. You don't even have to actually do your meditation there, but it's a reminder of what is important to you. You can set a beautiful garden. This actually, if we took a further view, is a geometric patterning, amazing, of flowers. And there's a water element and an earth element, a living element. The divine feminine recognizes and acknowledges our connection of the greater vibrational grid of all life. We work with this archetype through the great Isis, the head of all the priestesses of divine feminine, and she holds the secrets and divine principles of the earth plane and the 4 directions and the 4 elements. So these are other ways that you could begin to discuss and explore by Googling Isis and learning more about Isis if this is a new concept for you. The way we cook, prepare, and show food. This is nurturing our body, very simple. I think the Europeans have this down. This is a little breakfast I prepared for my French friend Menouche and also Catherine, and we were so delighted to have these beautiful delectables. So this is my daughter, and I chose this one because it shows many things. The sound. We can use sound, and there's a little candle there for ritual. This is a very special magical crystal. There is a lambskin here for lambskin. All of these things are very feminine and nurturing. Of course, there's a quilt, and she's feeling the energy of the Indara crystal because she was learning to become a Reiki master and learning how her body can attune to and work with other energetic fields. We all have this ability. Again, we just get busy. This perhaps is one of the most important parts. If you are in your passion, your brain gives certain chemicals and you are delivering to the earth plane so much joy, so much goodness, and it pushes the envelope for creation on earth. And it's exactly what we want to give you permission to do. We're creating a new paradigm, and we must move forward in joy. These are just a few pictures of the different archetypes of goddesses. Mary Magdalene in the lower right is waking up many women, and I'm sure Christy will give a mention to Mary Magdalene. I always say she is bringing the magnificent, magnanimous, the magnification of light on the earth, and she just has a whole energy field of empowerment, awakening, and most women on the divine feminine path have had a very profound experience with Mary Magdalene. If we are finding we need to express our anger, there's different feminine goddesses. I'm not sure, Kali maybe on the left, but now take your attention up to the Holy Family. The Holy Family is really birthing the masculine and feminine, divine masculine and feminine. As we balance and get our femininity back, balance it with our masculine, we become an enlightened one. See that light around? That is a grown adult woman. It is the grown adult women in slews, in tribes, in circles, in groups of women. I hate to say it like an army, but it's an army of peace. That is us coming here now. There is not one guru to save. It is each woman in her family and in her community, reworking all through her heart and her light. And you know, I've been studying also about the body, and I posted this in our little thing on Facebook, that our womb itself has a great amount of magnetics. And when we are in our energized, passionate form and our kundalini is open, this energy is very, very, very powerful to create from, and we don't get tired. And then when we work energetically and sexually with the divine masculine, there is a huge new envelope unzipped on the earth plane when these divine energies are open through the womb. That, of course, is an entire different seminar, but I encourage you to experiment and work with your sexual energies. Slowing down and just smelling. I guess this flower is called Love Lies Bleeding. I always love this, just to smell. Aren't you relaxed just looking at this? And letting other people see you enjoy and smell and create. This is what they do in front of restaurants in Bali. And you just, the order, the beauty, the color. Okay. So let's see. Go to our next slide here. All right. Then making music with like souls. Again, music is the only thing that goes unchanged from heaven to earth. And these are two beautiful musicians working in the anthroposophical tradition with their lyres. Here we are in our circles, maybe some beautiful familiar faces and a daughter here. And as we come together, we are so much more powerful. Now, sometimes you might need to take a retreat to get away to reset. It is so hard to see our lives, and we are so immersed in it. And here I am lying on a beach in Saint Maurice de la Mer, and you can just feel the grounding, the letting go, and the relaxation. I want to say a little bit about the women's voices. Our voices command reality because they amplify resonantly our feelings, our emotions, our truth, and our connection to spirit. Most women have contracted their voice through fear. This is a major area that we want to pay attention to move through our discomfort and our anxiety for speaking our truth at all times. And when we sing, you can see there's a little orb there happily residing next to my mouth. And the other picture shows rainbow colors on my tongue. I don't know how I did that, I guess a photomorph, but it shows that a woman who is vibrationally coherent in her spiritual power has the entire rainbow, the entire vibrational scale, which can be expressed in color, coming out of her mouth. Everyone in her presence is restructured vibrationally. Everyone entrains with this woman's truth. So you are setting a column of entrainment that other people are adjusting to all the time. So the more that you heal and connect with Source, the more you are restructuring and healing your family, your community, the tribe, the circle, and the world. So this is the grid, and we are all connected, and we hold a node on the grid, just a little visual helper there. This is that looking up to the light, Miss Charlotte Fuller, beautiful coach and artist, and she must have just meditated in the sound hut. So again, women say, I'm too busy, I'm tired, and I'm confused. And I always say, what's your meditation like? If you need to put on earphones or headphones to cut out all the other noise, do it. If you need to put on music to still your mind, do it. Because deeply meditating and letting go of your list and letting thy will, the higher will, be my will, and thy will, I'm talking about your higher self, the part that isn't resistant, the part that isn't programmed to this fear-based reality, that knows how to prioritize. It will allow you again to slow down during the day, do the things that come to you intuitively, check your breathing, make sure you're not holding your breath, simplify your activities. You don't have to do everything all the time. Declutter your environment and start limiting your engagements to those that really feed you. The idea is to listen inward to spirit all the time, put less energy out into the world action-wise, and more energy just being to restore your well of feminine juice. So everyday ways, just to kind of make a little summary here before we bring Christy in. Ritual with food, beauty, smells, and order. Bathing can be a ritual. Ceremony and ritual with others. Meditating, breathing, reflecting. Being in nature is huge, especially given the amount of time we spend indoors in our mind on the computer. Every 2 hours on the computer, I recommend that you go out into nature and restore, breathe, and touch nature. Gather with others in circles. They say repetition is good. And following your intuition. As we rebalance ourselves, we are recreating the world. And the feminine carries the reemergence of these principles of divine creation for Earth. There you go. There they are. Here is the bigger grid. It's like the wedding ring quilt, the flower of life. It's the new grid of connection on the planet. And we women are the change makers. We will be the new leaders. It is the feminine energy. And here we are. Imagine that you are in the middle of the hub. Someone else is in the middle of their hub. And you are co-creating together, just like Christy and I today. For you are an emissary, a being of light here. Look on top of the being's head. That energy is coming in, infusing through the heart, and she is standing on the earth plane, and underneath there are many sleeping, tired people. So on some level, you probably signed up to be this being with this core of pure light to share it. So the last comment I'd like to make is the feminine holds space, the masculine holds time, and we need to balance it back by finding our vibrational field coherent with our higher self, letting our voice put it out, and then we'll have our magnetism back, get all that we need to create, and the earth herself will return to coherent balance. So here we are, Chrissy and I. Sometimes we are in our regular day life at the fair. Here we are in our ceremonial outfits, and I'm here to tell you that we can bring these two worlds together all the time. Okay, so we're going to stop the share and come back. And it is my pleasure to bring in Christy Michaels. And Christy, I'm going to bring you in and we're going to do a little meditation together first, okay? Does that sound okay?
Sounds wonderful. Great way to start.
Great. You want to say hello to everybody first?
Hi, everybody. I'm so enjoying listening to you share, Jen, and thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I love your energy. I love your clarity of mind and the way in which you really have such a sweet intention of creating such a beautiful, energetic experience for people. And I have had the great privilege of bathing in this field that you've created so many times in the work that we've done together. So appreciate, so uplifting. Thank you.
See how we have created our circles is Christy has taken the baton to create multitudes, unending events where all the women and men now can come and have this deep, divine, feminine experience. You are on the cutting edge and you're out there doing it. And I've learned that once we start talking and I start interviewing you, we'll forget the meditation. And I always feel it's the most important part. So let's go ahead and drop in together. Take a deep breath through the nose and out through the mouth. We ask and intend to set a sacred space. We place a beautiful hold-on of balance over our body, that the energies only of the highest light may be here now. We call in our spirit family and the beings of light who are assisting us to emerge powerfully, to find ourselves, be in our passion, and reignite these divine feminine ways. So we simply ask and intend for the energy of Source, this feminine remembrance and restoration, to be poured in a beautiful elixir of light right through the top of our head, just mixing in with our vibration of our nervous system, our hearts, our throats, so that we are revitalized, rejuvenated, and restored, that we are clarion bells of light through the divine feminine. Excellent. Just let it flow through your body. So with that in mind, I again am thrilled to have Christy Michaels here as my guest, and I've asked her to say just a little about her path and then to talk about ways that she uses for her ritual and grounding in everyday life. And I'll tell you one, she's calm and she's into unconditional love. Big time. If you saw the technology problems that we were having right before this, getting our left brain going, I really have to hand it to you. Get the chalice.
You were just letting go. That's great.
Christy.
Such a joy to be with you, Jan. Really appreciate it. Thank you. You know, the day I got ordained on 10/10/10, I had such a blissful, amazing experience. And I was wondering, is this joy because I'm all dressed up as a priestess and a goddess and I'm celebrating with all these beautiful priestess sisters and we're in a temple and whatnot? And I went back to my room and I randomly opened A Course in Miracles and my eye caught this sentence and it said, all separation vanishes when we share that which is holy. For holiness is power, and as we share it, it gains in strength. And I realized that I was sharing this holy moment of the ordination with all these priestess sisters, and so I was feeling this power of gaining in strength, and it's the real power of love. It's the real power that really quenches the thirst. We spoke about earlier, Jan, that when we've done ceremonies, people have found themselves very hungry when they go back into their world, and their world may be dry and devoid of the kind of power that they experience in the ceremony, because we live in a world that doesn't honor the sacred and doesn't honor women as being sacred, and we don't join together with the divine masculine in sacred ways as a routine matter of course. But if you go to other countries like in Bali, they do have sacred practices at the level of community where people come in celebration with flowers and gifts and nurturing and song and dance. And they share that, and it's honored and revered and respected. A friend of mine who was traveling through Bali was talking about how all of a sudden, right in the middle of the street, there was a spontaneous expression of the sacred that unfolded right before his eyes. That was so beautiful. And when he came back and he invited his friends over, he did that. He had this spontaneous outpouring of just bringing together friends in a sacred way. So the visions started coming for me after that, because once you open up to the sacred, you'll be guided. And when you're guided and you stay in the daily practice that Jan's talking about in this everyday priestess, is staying attuned and staying connected, because the wisdom that comes through guidance, we each have our own path, and it's actually customized for us. So what will speak to us the most, what will gently and softly and sweetly open us up to such an amazing life. But we have to do the work of going within. And that's why I've really committed myself to teaching and spreading the word of the Gospel of Mary Magdalene, because what few people realize is the Gospel of Mary Magdalene contains within it wisdoms and teachings that show us how Mary Magdalene was able to walk this path, how she was able to connect the practices that she did, because she was dealing with Peter, who was quite a handful, and she had to stand up to him, but she did it with total love in her heart, and yet she was also in integrity of being in her truth. So that's part of this daily practice of studying the ancient ways, because in the ancient culture, in the ancient times, in these ancient documents that were kind of banned and removed from our culture and our society, but are now coming back into presence. So they've been discovered and uncovered. We learn that this was the original intention. The original intention was that we were all powerful. We were all had these abilities to connect, but it takes a daily practice. It takes It takes coming together in community and sharing this sacred power. So, I mean, I can go on and on, but if you have any particular thing you'd like me to talk about, Jan, or should I?
I think you're doing a great job.
Okay.
Just say a little bit more about your personal path, and it just seemed like you were working and putting on events for other people, and suddenly there was this immense shift, and you are serving as a leader. And I want to encourage women to walk through that little fire of unknown and anxiety of, can I do this? Can I be a leader? What was your process? And while you're doing that, I'm going to run out and get a book. So be right back.
Well, what is interesting about the process of becoming a leader and the way that it worked for me is that I was in the question. So what is it that you would have me do? Where is it that you would have me go? What is it that you would have me say? And I knew where my heart was, because I was being connected to the divine feminine. But leaving this beautiful question in the process, then what happens? And you don't know when it's going to happen. Your work is to stay in the question and to formulate the question that you have. And then it will be revealed to you. So I'm in the question, and then suddenly the vision comes. And you don't know where it's going to come or when it's going to come. For me, it came when I opened the back door and walked out, and I saw this beautiful rose that the night before had been a very, very tight bud, was fully bloomed and fully open. And I thought, this is amazing. How can a rose open to full capacity like that? But I had just, in my morning meditation, received a vision of what my work was to be. And the download came. And when the download came, what came with it was all the confidence, all of the knowledge of how to do it, how to implement it, how to make it happen. And this was not a simple thing. This was a complex ritual. It was a 6-station ritual that was to be held on Magdalene's feast day. And it was basically to tell the story of Easter through Mary Magdalene's eyes. And the 6 stations had to do with what she was doing, where she was, what was her purpose, what was her function. But the beauty of it is everybody got to participate, because I had 2 or 3 priestesses on each station, and they each had a role. So we began with the anointing, and we ended with Jan, where people would walk through the gates of heaven and receive a sound bath, a sound healing bath that would lift them up into states of ecstasy. And you can go on my Facebook page, Christy Michaels at Facebook, and you'll see these amazing pictures of women going through Jan's sound healing gates of heaven and going into just pure bliss and ecstasy of their hearts just being so extraordinarily open. So it was really great. There's someone, go ahead.
I just wanted to highlight that what you just said demonstrated that there was no struggle. Once you dropped in, the plan was there. I hear women saying, how do I do this? How do I do that? I want to do a business funnel, blah, blah, blah. And they're struggling in an old paradigm model, whereas Spirit has the story, easiest, highest path written for you, and you just wake up, it drops in. And so that's why we're doing this webinar. Women are struggling. Why is my life so difficult? Because they're not vibrating the way they used to do things. And you were running a center for someone else, and suddenly your whole world dropped in, because we are part of a greater recalibrating Earth plan. And you and I made a contract in the etheric, in a different realm, to come in and have these co-creations and to support and heal each other in our leadership roles. And I want to go into the next topic, is that when you first began, you and I would work together on how to handle all the different artistic personalities, needs for expression, competition, maybe a little bit, and spiritual superiority. And you have really had to work with, I'd say, Christy, sometimes it's a circus, But now I say it's an orchestra, and you're fine-tuning, that everyone is much more complementary and supporting. It's not me showing. And the new model for the feminine leadership is the women in a circle, their shoulders kind of holding each other up. But when one goes out to give her information, to speak or to sing, everybody gives that attention and support, does not criticize, does not try to make it less than theirs, or they don't try to have that person have less time. And you've really managed a new model for co-creation through the artistic sacred arts. But can you give some hints on how you worked through some of these issues? Did you have to tell some people, if you're not going to play nice, you can't play in the playground?
Well, it's really, the truth is, it's a learning for all of us that we're doing, because this idea that when we share that which is holy, when we share that which is sacred, there is a power behind that, and the power strengthens us all. But we haven't had that in our culture, in our society. And so what has happened is, in the past, when people have done events or sacred ceremonies or events, they've been performances. And so I have my performance, and I'm the singer, and I'm the musician, and I'm the this, and I'm the that, and everybody has their I am this. But this is a different shift. This is like, no, we're joining. And what we're doing is we're joining together to create a field of energy, a field of consciousness that brings in this power of the sacred and allows us to connect and recognize and see the holiness in each of us. So I behold that which is holy in you. You're accepting and beholding that which is holy in me. And when we join in that holiness, there is this feeling of power that comes. And this is a power that is a power for good. It harms no one, and it hurts no one. And so what happens is that when the women and the men who played with us have felt this power, there's no ego. And it's so fun. It's so joyous. And then when a sister or a brother comes in and that they don't understand this, they aren't like tuned into it, and they're still like, I'm performing and I'm doing this and this is my time and this is my thing. It's like incongruent with the fact that the rest of us have learned. So it's a learning curve that we're all doing, and more of us are beginning to understand that it benefits us all to let go. Marianne Williamson says that, it is our light, not our darkness, that we are most frightened of. But what I found when we join together in this illuminated way, when we join together, acknowledging and appreciating the holiness that we are, the holiness that we actually carry within inside of us, every single one of us on the altar of our hearts has the spirit of the creative force of God or Buddha or whoever you want to call, Shakti, anybody that you want to call the divine within you. But we carry that seed of creation within us as us, and then we're expressing that. And so, but when we join together, then what happens is it increases, and when we do it with the idea of creating this field where we're all seeing the beloved in each other, we're all seeing the sacred in each other, we're all seeing, then we have the strengthening of this power and this expansion of this power that is the most fun and the most enjoyable thing to go. And so we have to keep inviting and helping our brothers and sisters who don't quite understand this to drop in, to let go, to open up, to allow, and to bring their gift, of song, to bring their gift of music, or to bring their gift of ceremony, ritual, whatever it is, their gift. But it's the sharing. It's the sharing of it. And we all share together, and we let go of the ego, and we share together, and then we create an awesome, awesome experience that really feeds the soul. And it actually heals the planet. It changes the race consciousness. It changes the race consciousness that the women are less than, that there's a glass ceiling for women, that men and women cannot be in the divine nature together, sharing love. It gives women the feeling that I am whole and complete, and I'm not looking for my other half, because I'm not a half person. I'm a whole person. I'm a complete person, and therefore I am connecting with love, and I am sharing my love, and I have my boundaries very clearly defined, and I'm pushing out the love, and as I push out love, I create my own internal safety, because I become heart-centered, and the heart has the wisdom to discern. Oh, okay, it's time for me to go. Thank you, namaste, or appreciate very much, or go right or go left, because the heart will guide with the intelligence of the heart, which is for the highest good of all and the harm of none. So we're all learning how to do this, because particularly in the American culture, where do we have deep, rich, sacred ceremony that we all participate? I myself hadn't experienced anything other than maybe a few Sunday services here and there that kind of touched on it a little bit with some glorious song that was sung or some deep prayer that was done. But in terms of really creating that thing, of really dropping in as a community and feeling it as a community, I hadn't seen it before. So it's been my deep privilege and honor to open and get and receive these visions, and then produce these events and ask everybody to join, and keep inviting and keep allowing people to let go of their preconceived ideas that I have to perform and I have to do it this way and this is my piece, and let all that go and really, connect. And Jen, you've been so marvelous in that way of bringing that gift that you bring with your sound healing and your commitment to such a high vibration. So it's been an honor to work with you, my dear.
Well, by the end of the events, no matter how we're all holding our breath, how will it all go? We're bringing a lot of elements. By the end, everyone in that room is saying, I want what they're drinking. No strangers. And you're right, the ego dissolves in that room. We are all one. We are all family. And
Yes.
then people go home and they say, where's my family? I want more. So one of your major initiatives, and I have to say that I've worked with the Divine Feminine about 8 years now in different ways. And I even wrote a book to help partners of the women I work with. It's called Guy's Guide to the Divine Feminine, and you can get it on Amazon. But one of my spiritual mentors said, Jan, what are you doing for the Divine Masculine? This is about 2 years ago, and I was blank. And they said, don't you know, you women are spearheading the entire bringing back divinity to the human experience, and they need for the women to lead and show. So I wrote that book, and then Christy and I began speaking about ways to bring men into ceremony, and quite a bit has been accomplished. Do you want to just say a little bit about your Divine Masculine work as well?
Yes, the Divine Masculine work was very interesting because, like I said, we've had the patriarchy up here, and the Divine Feminine has been down here. So it's been this raising up of the Divine Feminine so that the Divine Feminine and the Divine Masculine can then join as one and be considered equal. And so, like, everybody's sort of saying, well, the patriarchy's been up here for thousands of years running the show, and here's the little Divine Feminine on the blip on the radio screen, and some people were saying, well, the truth is it's one, right? I go, yeah, the truth is it's one, but you're going to have to give women a chance to come into their sacred holiness, to be standing in their light, to be connecting with the strength and the power and the courage and the wisdom of who they really are, and matching the Divine Masculine. But the Divine Masculine also has to rise their vibration as well into the fruits of the Spirit, which is the gentleness, the compassion, the harmony, the peace. And then we have this movement towards oneness where they both become one. So there's work to be done here, and there's work to be done here before we can go. We know this is ultimately, we are one. That's the ultimate truth. but we do have to do this. So the divine masculine has to come along and help and support and serve the raising and the honoring, because there's been so much dishonoring for so long that it comes forward. So what ended up happening was the men's work just naturally appeared, and it just naturally came forward. And a vision came for doing a ceremony, because safety, women's safety, with something like 1 in 4 women have been sexually abused in some way, or have had to deal with inappropriate sexual advances, if not rape itself. It's just too many women have had to deal with perpetrator energy, and have not felt safe wherever I am, whatever street corner I'm at, that I am 100% all the time. So these men that were making the decision to come over and help with the support and the rising of the divine feminine placed a sacred stone that we did in ritual in the hands of each and every woman. They closed that hand, they looked her in the eye, and they said, I just want you to know, I give you this stone to ground in the idea that I am here for your safety, that I am here for your protection, and however I may serve you or support you. And the women were like, oh my God, to have a man commit in consciousness to be, which means that his voice, the things that he says, that what he speaks will be heard by the other men in his world when they're talking ill. He's the one that carries the voice that says, no, we speak truth, of compassion in our heart, of gentleness, of safety for women. We want to see that happening. And I'm here to say we need to have right thinking here. This is not right thinking, what's going on. And we need right thinking, and we need to support and acknowledge the women. So every time the men come to our events, we do a special tribute to them, because these men who show up are very powerful, very incredible men, because they've been willing to cross the line, come over to this side, and join with the women in honoring not only their own sacredness, but the sacredness of the women. And then together we can move into a world where we experience more oneness. But we need to have this uplifting and this support. So, that's what seems to be evolving and unfolding. And I just stay open to the visions and hope that you can come out sometime to the events and participate, because it's very beautiful to see this whole enactment, which is like healing or wiping away the race consciousness that of all these strange ideas we've had that have not really supported either one being whole and complete and divine. So,
and one of the reasons that I wanted to do this webinar is that because it is such a holy vibration and we wear costumes, I think that the modern everyday man felt like it was separate and we were isolating ourselves, when in fact, bringing through the divine feminine essence every day in our home, in our being, going in our passion, makes a woman radiant, fabulously magnetic, and women, listen to this, we do not age. We become an energetic, glowing conduit, and we can prolong our lives. We can regenerate skin cells. And so the men and the women benefit, and the children, because we have juice, we have all that energy to give. So, Christy, we're coming upon the last 5 minutes. So what I'd like you to do is just say for you what is next and how people can contact you.
So you can contact me on my website. Is gospelofmarymagdalene.info, and it's Christy, that's spelled Christ with a Y, Christy at gospelofmarymagdalene.info is my email address. And the next event that we'll be doing is going to be on November 1st, 2014, and it will be a sacred blessing of the men to us as the women. So we will be able to receive a blessing from the men. It's going to be a glorious event with the deepening in the mysteries of Mary Magdalene. So thank you, Jan.
Oh, Christy, and more and more and more of this, and then global plans, more webinars, more expansion, and more women creating their own holy circles around the earth. And I know that Christy and I are available to give support information, phone support, to assist women. There's a group in El Salvador forming a Divine Feminine group. All around the world, women are so hungry for this. And I feel here in North America, as the Dalai Lama said, Western women will change the world. And Christy, you are carrying that torch and fully illuminating and making it look easy for how you do it. So I want to thank you so much.
Well, that's because I'm sharing it with you, Jan, and the power of two consciousnesses joining together in sacred holy work is fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. We do keep our sense of humor, and we need it. Okay.
Yes. So
when I first started this path, I want to share with you that Mary Magdalene gave me a poem. And the first part, and this is from the top of my head. I now break my silence. I take my place in the divine role. Silence for 2,000 years. I now stand before you without fear and announce my role in the divine plan as a woman anointed with her own Christed light. So that came through, and then this poem came as a follow. Forgive me, Creator, for silence so long. I now tell my story of how things went wrong. My heart was quiet. My hands went unused. I forgot, as above, so below. Forgive me, sweet Father, for silence so long. Beneath my awareness, veiled in selfishness so wrong. Before me my path, which you have always lit for me. I believe now, as above, so below. Forgive me, sweet Mother, for silence so long. My throat and my heart lift up to your light. The truth of love shall guide me unfailingly as I become, as above, so below. The womb of creation now fills me with light. I light up my body to heal and make right. Creator was patient till I exhausted every human fear, so I could be as above, so below. Devotional passions stream in my blood. The fire within is fuel for the word. The song of truth shall bring faith in eternity as we sing, as above, so below. The Father and Mother divided, now one. I stand here at last, daughter next to the Son. Fused by pure love, the chalice is full again. As I become, as above, so below. I've often thought that the Holy Grail, the long sought after Holy Grail, is the awakened heart in its divinity. And we females bring forth a liquid elixir of nurturing and light and truth to the earth. So I invite you to practice some of these everyday practical tools to keep your chalice full, to bring this fluid of light and juice to the weary, the parched, the tired, and keep yourself full first. I have a beautiful coaching program. It's called Being Light, and I take a courageous group of 15 women through a 3-month process where we prepare our physical bodies to hold light, and then we take in our spiritual connection, and then we work with relationships, and then the last 4 weeks is taking our mission out into the world. I invite you to take a look at that or contact me for any reason or to share or if you need support. And my email is Jan Cercone, Cercone @gmail.com. And my website is Soundandlighthealingarts. Namaste. We have about 30 seconds left. Just, Christy, do you have a finishing statement? Again, thank you, dear, dear, dear Christy.
Well, I just heard the 13 Indigenous grandmothers say that in the Indigenous world where women are valued and treasured and on the council, there's no Alzheimer's or dementia. So this is imperative for the American women, so we don't go into nursing homes, that we take on this mantle of the sacred and value ourselves. So blessed be and have a glorious day.
Blessed be, Christy. There's no retirement for us. We're going to be having cruise ship parties at 110.
Yeah.
Namaste. See everybody. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.